All right, clapping for sync audio. All right, so it has been quite a minute. I have been working on a video since I last put out the last one. So it's been like 8 or 9 months or something like that. It is taking a long time. I thought it would be over fairly quickly, but it's proving to be very much the opposite case. I filmed half of it, and then the photos I took just were not it. They were not turning out how I wanted them to. So then I bought another roll and I've been shooting that, and it just tanked the process of the video. But I'm still working on it. It's coming along. It'll be done soon. I'll have that done. And then I'm also working on another video. A lot of you might know that I took a trip to Japan to kind of celebrate my graduation from college. And I'm actually planning on making a video. It'll probably be 3 parts of my Japan trip. I actually shot all of the video for it this time on my camcorder. Kind of crappy quality, and that was kind of the vibe I was going for, like a home video type thing. I'm still developing all my rolls of film from Japan, and I want to include those in that video, so it'll be probably a minute until I get that video fully pumped out too. But in the meantime, some of you who follow me on Instagram, you might know that every now and then I'll post something on my story about a magazine I'm making with my photography. And I had this idea that what if I just intentionally make a magazine of my photos, but intentionally make it as pretentious and artsy and over the top as I possibly could. So that's what I did. Okay, so this one is actually the first magazine that I made. It's titled Focus, Volume 1. Ooh. But I have these really dumb quotes in this one, which I kind of regret because it goes from being pretentious to where you're like, oh, this is obviously a joke. I pretended I was a bar of soap and gave them all the slip. What are we doing? But we start with the About the Author page, as you do. This will become a staple in my magazines. This is probably my favorite page to work on because I just get to be pretentious and act like I'm a super fancy artist. I'll quickly read this for you to get an idea of what we're going into with these magazines. Christian Champion is not merely a photographer. He's a visual philosopher, wielding film as his chosen dialect to interrogate the existential tension between light and shadow. Born in a beam of golden hour and raised on expired Kodak, Christian's work transcends medium genre and arguably reason. His lens does not capture moments, it resurrects them, embalmed in grain and laced with intentional overexposure. When he is not redefining contemporary nostalgia frame by frame, he can be found sipping imported espresso, sketching in moleskins he never rereads, and insisting that digital is a phase. This magazine is not just a display, it's a declaration. Proceed accordingly. Oh, giving me shivers. All right, next page. First couple pages of this are some of my favorite black and white photos. And I thought it would be fun to have the magazine just trash on color. Be like, color film, it's not as deep, it's not as emotionally charged and connected to the photographer and the scene as black and white is. Black and white is raw. It shows you everything and blah, 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 blah. So that's what we did here. Genesis 35mm is the title. Let's see if we can find something that kind of gives you the idea of what these pages are. Even this quote right here. In the absence of color, truth has nowhere to hide. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. Is that a real quote? Absolutely not. Made it up. We got Latin everywhere. These Latin quotes do mean something if you decide to look it up and figure it out. But yeah, I'll read this paragraph here. This section then is not a tribute to jazz. That would be too small. It's a dialogue with rhythm, with texture, with time itself. These images do not ask to be liked. They ask to be listened to. Color would only get in the way. Speaking of things that get in the way, have you ever been searching the internet and you just get a bunch of ads and they get all in your way? Well, thanks to NordVPN. You really think I was doing an ad read? Did you think that? I bet you thought that. I bet you thought I was doing an ad read. I'm not doing one. I actually just couldn't figure out how to transition between the music tracks that I had going because the one song. So this is what we're doing here. This is what we're talking about. Pretentious, over the top, artsy, doesn't make sense. All of this talking about how black and white is the true form of photography and art, and that color is just a scar on the earth, a scourge on the planet. And then I thought it would be funny to completely contradict itself in the entire magazine, flip into color photos now and talk about how color is awesome and how it's so good you could do so much with it. Now, the transition from the stark clarity of black and white to the unsettling vibrancy of color is a shift from quiet meditation to uneasy presence. Where monochrome invites contemplation, color demands confrontation.
Huh?
Don't know what that means. A lot of this, it's supposed to be like you borderline get it, but you don't, and because it doesn't make sense. But that's how I feel anytime I go up to a piece about art at a museum and I don't get it. Yeah, we have an interview that I made up. How would you describe your work? Description diminishes it. The images are not made to be understood, only endured. All right. The fire hydrant collection. We are all just shadows chasing light, sometimes clear, sometimes blurred, but always moving towards something we quite can't name. Abraham Lincoln said that. He did. Trust me, this is Abraham Lincoln. And then my self-reflectant, I guess I didn't write this in the magazine meta, but it's a little biography. And then the toilet pick, gotta put that on full display on the back cover.
Since then, I have made 2 more magazines. We got one of all my more liminally kind of spooky photography stuff. And then we have a fancy Japan 2025 edition that I made of all my Japan photography, all in the same vein of being just overly artsy and above, your head. Art in Japan is rarely content to exist as a passive experience and insists on presence, on noticing, on a kind of deliberate scene that mirrors the careful craftsmanship woven throughout the culture. But this one's probably my favorite. It's very long, lots of pages, but yeah, I have 3 of these now. If you want one, let me know and I'll get you one. But
that's my magazine.